Celebrating 41 seasons on the air, Farm Week is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Hello everyone, I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Amy Myers. Thanks for joining us today on Farm Week. Coming up, Monsanto delays the launch of a new ag chemical.
As the extent of damage to soybeans from another product this past growing season becomes clearer.
Even though it's fall, there is some lawn care activity that homeowners need to take care of before winter.
And a new USDA program is a win-win for both graduating veterinarians and farmers who live in extremely rural areas. We begin this week with an update to a story we've been following for a while. The amount of damage to soybeans from the suspected drift of the chemical dicamba this growing season continues to mount. According to new figures reported by agfacts.com, over 3.5 million acres of soybeans nationwide were injured by the off-site movement of dicamba in 2017. This translates into over 2,700 dicamba-related injury cases currently under investigation by various state departments of agriculture in the U.S. Now in Mississippi, Extension weed scientists estimate that 250,000 acres of soybeans were injured in the state by dicamba drift. The official number of dicamba-related injury investigations in Mississippi as of October 15th is 78, according to the State Department of Agriculture and Commerce.
Meanwhile, Monsanto, the maker of dicamba, is now delaying the launch of what it calls another blockbuster product. The product is called Strike and is said to protect corn, soybeans, and cotton from worms that reduce yields. Reuters reports that on November 1st, Monsanto decided to put the release on hold because of reports that Strike causes rashes on people. A company spokesperson says there have been limited cases of skin irritation, including rashes, that appear to be associated with the handling and application of the seed treatment product. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency did extensive evaluations of Strike and approved its use prior to Monsanto announcing its plans to roll out the new product to farmers.
November and December are typically the months that people associate with eating cranberries in one form or another. However, this fruit can help keep your body healthy all year long. Cranberries are a great source of vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants. Extension's Natasha Haynes tells you how to incorporate cranberries into your everyday diet all year long here on The Food Factor.
You may have wondered, what makes something a superfood? Well, let's just say they can help make your body a lean, mean, fighting machine. This week, our superfood spotlight shines on the health benefits of cranberries. Cranberries are a sweet and tart fruit that many of us associate with the holiday season. But if that's the only time you're partaking, then you are missing out. Cranberries are loaded with vitamins and antioxidants. Their fiber content promotes healthy digestion, and research indicates that drinking cranberry juice often can increase good HDL cholesterol levels while reducing bad cholesterol. The most well-known benefit, however, is the superpower defense against urinary tract infections. Cranberries possess a unique anti-adhesive compound that keeps bacteria from attaching to cell walls and may even prevent stomach ulcers. So put these superfoods to work in your body. It's time to make healthy food a factor in your life.
And for more ideas on how to get cranberries into your diet, visit the Food Factor Pinterest board.
It may not always feel like it temperature-wise every day, but the fall season is definitely here. Extension horticulturist Gary Bachman says the end of summer does not mean that homeowners should ignore their lawns. On the contrary, there's work to be done. Gary gets some tips for you from turf grass specialist Jay McCurdy.
Here on Southern Gardening, we talk a lot about ornamental plants in our gardens and landscape, but we hardly ever mention the most prolific plant on most properties, the lawn itself. Today on Southern Gardening, I'm talking with Dr. Jay McCurdy, the MSU Extension turfgrass specialist. Jay, fall is an important time of the year for lawn care. What are some of the lawn care activities we need to accomplish each fall?
A common question I receive is what type of fertilizer to use as well as when to apply. Typically, we want to apply less nitrogen and more potassium in the fall. I recommend most homeowners perform a yearly soil analysis. The report they receive back will dictate to them what type of fertilizer to apply as well as when to apply it.
Now, many homeowners use pre-emergence herbicides in the spring. What about the fall season?
Those same pre-emergence herbicides work very well in the fall time of year to control troublesome weeds such as broadleaves and annual bluegrass.
Now, a common question I get, what about weed and feeds?
Weed and feeds are herbicides on a granular fertilizer carrier. Over-fertilization is a common problem with those types of products. You certainly don't need to fertilize and put out a weed and feed.
Now, Jay, managing your home lawn can be intimidating. Where can homeowners find more information?
Gary, our extension website has a section on lawn care. Within that, I would recommend homeowners look at the publication, Establish and Manage Your Home Lawn. But really, there's something there for everyone.
If you follow Jay's advice, taking care of your home lawn this fall will be a piece of cake. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and I'll see you next time on Southern Gardening.
Gary says to remember these fall turf tips to help your lawn thrive through the winter season.
Well, guess what? We've got 2 Southern Gardening segments for you this week. In our second episode, Gary addresses one of the challenges facing gardeners this time of year. What plant will provide some durable color in the landscape not only through the summer, but into the fall season that's here now? Gary says some varieties of lantana could be your answer because they continue to pop with color well into autumn.
After a long summer, lantana still looks good in the fall. Today, Southern Gardening's at Truck Crops Branch Station looking at their latest trial plants. I really like lantana in the fall of the year. Not only do they brighten the landscape, but they are literal butterfly and pollinator magnets. You may even get to enjoy a hummingbird grabbing a snack. Now let's look at a few newer varieties. Bloomify are a new type of lantana that doesn't produce seed and will produce flowers all summer long. Bloomify Red features bright red flowers, and Bloomify Rose has soft pastel rose pink flowers. The plants remain neatly branched and reach about 14 inches tall and wide, which makes Bloomify lantana perfect for mass planting. The breeders of luscious lemonade lantana have done it again. The dark foliage of luscious Royale Cosmo provides a great background for the clusters of magenta purple with orange-yellow flowers. The extreme heat tolerance makes it a winner in our Mississippi gardens. This medium growing plant gets about 20 inches tall and 24 inches wide. Lucky Red Lantana has dark green foliage that provides a beautiful background for the bright yellow, orange, and red flower colors. Lucky stands up well to heat, which is great for our Mississippi gardens. The plants have an upright mounded habit, perfect for smaller gardens. If you don't have any lantana in your landscape, I hope I've given you some ideas. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and I'll see you next time on Southern Gardening.
Gary says that lantana will continue to pop with color in the autumn season. And now it's time for the markets with Layton.
Well, remember Hurricane Harvey? Hard to believe. 2 months have gone by since that storm rolled through Texas. In a moment, we'll find out how much cotton lost in that storm, and as well as some other losses. Also ahead in the markets this week, feeder cattle are described as being value priced, but what does that mean? Low river levels were adding to harvest pressure for grain shippers recently, and demand serves as kind of a safety net now for the cotton market. With less beef showing up in the recent cold storage report, it could be said that demand is pretty good now in the cattle sector. Value-priced feeders are also keeping things very strong.
When you look at the cattle market as a whole, you've got live cattle rallying and feeder cattle rallying, you really would like to see feeders leading the way, right? And this week we really didn't see that. So I wonder if we're kind of getting into a little bit of thin air up here. But, you know, placements numbers, marketing numbers, I like the fact that we've seen strength in feeders. I think at the moment we're fairly value priced. I think we have to see what happens with live, and that'll tell us what happens with feeders. Also, what happens with corn price too, because if corn does break out to the upside a little bit, that's going to put some pressure on feeders.
Time now for today's trivia quiz here on Farm Week. Today's question is about organic ag commodity sales, and here it is. What certified organic ag commodity was the top seller last year in the United States? Is the answer eggs, broiler chickens, milk, or apples? We'll have that answer coming up in a moment.
We're going to pause now for a short break, but don't go anywhere. Still ahead, Leighton talks with Brian Williams about the cotton market. And in the feature segment, a win-win situation for livestock producers in rural areas and for veterinarians just starting their careers. A new program may encourage young, large animal veterinarians to locate where they're needed most.
Infinite Impact began with the goal of raising $600 million. And through your generous gifts, we surpassed that goal faster than anyone thought possible. But now, we have set our standards higher and spread our vision further. Infinite Impact offers infinite possibilities. And it all begins with a single step, a single accomplishment, a single victory, or even a single goal. 1 billion begins with one.
Before we get back to the markets, let's take a look at the Farm Week calendar. The 2017 Mississippi Coastal Cleanup has been rescheduled to Saturday, November 18th due to the aftermath of Hurricane Nate. The event begins at 8 a.m. that Saturday and continues until 11 a.m. Volunteers of all ages are welcome, but adults must accompany children. The 29th annual event will cover more than 40 sites in Jackson, Harrison, and Hancock counties. On December 7th and 8th, livestock producers will have the opportunity to learn more about producing grass-fed beef. The first annual Grass-Fed Beef in the Southeast workshop will take place at the Lamar County Community Shelter in Purvis, Mississippi near Hattiesburg. Sessions will run from 1 to 5 p.m. on Thursday the 7th and 8 to 5 on Friday the 8th. Friday afternoon will feature a tour of forage plots at the White Sands Experiment Station in nearby Poplarville. Registration is $35 and includes meals and training materials. Now, check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
At one point this harvest season, low water levels upstream on the Mississippi as well as other rivers added to the pressure this time of year at grain elevators and ports at New Orleans handling that commodity.
With a reduced draft, grain shipping terminals are prevented from loading barges to full capacity, increasing transportation costs and creating congestion during what is traditionally a busy time on Midwestern waterways. Transportation setbacks, in turn, have put pressure on elevator operators who are now scrambling for storage. The result has been, in some cases, an addition to the basis farmers face when they sell their grain. Lower water levels are a cause of some concern for port operators in the Gulf of Mexico.
We become uncompetitive and unreliable, and that hurts our farmers. And when you become uncompetitive, unreliable, they'll go someplace else. These countries that are buying our grain will find another place to buy it that's more reliable and more competitive.
For Market to Market, I'm John Torpy.
Ample rainfall in the lower Mississippi Valley and in the Midwest has now reversed the water level problem, with barges once again being able to be loaded to full capacity for the trip downstream. Well, there are differing opinions on the size of the U.S. cotton crop, due in part to the challenge USDA survey teams still face in areas of the belt impacted this summer by hurricanes. Extension's Brian Williams says it could take until the December report numbers before we really know. Is this cotton crop getting bigger or smaller?
Well, looking at the last USDA report, there was a lot of reduction in the production and yields. The last USDA report, the production was down about 3% and yields were down about 19 pounds per acre from last month. With that being said, we're still looking at a lot larger crop than what we had a year ago. Total production is still expected to be about 23% higher than last year, and the yields could end up being the second largest yields on record for cotton nationally.
Why has this kind of been a challenging year as far as the crop enumerators, those that actually go out into the fields and survey what they see and what's there?
Well, a lot of it comes back to weather, and specifically the hurricanes that we saw a couple months ago. The big reductions, I mentioned there was a reduction in production nationally, that came in two states primarily, Texas and Georgia, both of which were hit fairly hard with a hurricane over the last couple of months. And so that just throws a whole wrench into things as they're trying to figure out what that crop looks like, and they're trying to assess the damage that came to those crops because of the hurricanes.
So what's your feeling right now as far as price support for cotton, where we're staying here? We're just getting into November.
Well, there's kind of two things pulling on it right now. We've got demand and supply. And on the supply side, even with the hurricanes that came through, we're still looking at a very large crop, which is going to put a little bit of pressure, downward pressure on the markets. But at the same time, demand's been fairly strong, which is in a way keeping a safety net under the prices as well.
And let me guess, China is a chief supporter of that demand for U.S. cotton, right?
China is. When you look at the global numbers, China is the #1 user of cotton in the world, and then the #3 importer of cotton in the world. So they're a huge player on the global scene.
And final question quickly, what do prospective plantings look like? What might you say as far as when we get to the spring of 2018?
Well, when we kind of look at the prices, that's what we need to look at right now in terms of determining what's going to be planted. When we look at the prices, cotton's held fairly strong, especially relative to corn, and about the same as soybeans. So with that being said, I could see it potentially stealing some acres from corn or staying fairly steady.
New information from Texas A&M indicates that cotton definitely took a hit from Hurricane Harvey, with the livestock sector not too far behind. Total losses to agriculture are now estimated to be $200 million in Texas. Losses to cotton are pegged at $100 million. Harvey's damage to livestock in Texas, $93 million, which includes cattle and calves lost as well as infrastructure destroyed. And back to the trivia quiz now as we wrap things up here in the markets this week. Today's question is about the top-selling organic ag commodity in the U.S., and our answer is C. Organic milk sales in the U.S. totaled almost $1.5 billion in 2016. That is up 18% from the year before.
In many rural areas of the United States today, a large animal veterinarian can be difficult to find. The USDA has created a program it hopes will not only help farmers who live in underserved areas, but also young veterinarians just starting their careers and facing huge college loans. Peter Tubbs has the feature story.
A horse with a foot problem is the first patient on Monday morning at the Droege Animal Health Center in Eureka, Kansas. Greenwood County is defined by the Flint Hills, which limits agriculture to ranching rather than row crops. Horses are the preferred tool for herding cattle here, making equine medicine an important part of a vet practice. This is the only large animal vet clinic in the county, and both veterinarians on duty tend to the patient.
It's hard to do that one-handed, isn't it?
Dr. Kaylee Fitzmaurice is solving a problem in American agriculture, a scarcity of veterinarians willing to work with the millions of food animals in rural areas. The USDA's veterinary loan repayment program is an encouragement to fill the gap. Fitzmaurice sees a reduction in the principal of her vet school loan for each year she works in an underserved region of the United States.
I'm going to give an antibiotic called Nuflor to take care of the infection of the skin.
Fitzmaurice joined Dr. Dwayne Droege to care for some of the 300,000 food animals in a 9-county region of southeast Kansas. Droege is nearing retirement, and Dr. Fitzmaurice is in the process of buying the practice. The loan repayment program is allowing that to happen ahead of schedule.
Without the program, it wouldn't even be feasible for me to think about buying a practice, and I'm only 2 years out, and we'll have the practice bought by next year. So it's just totally changed the financial aspect of moving to a rural community where before it wouldn't have been feasible for probably 10, 15 years, and 5 years out we'll be right on track. So it's been awesome.
The Vet Loan Repayment Program defines the regions with the highest need for veterinary services and strives to place veterinarians into these regions. Vets willing to take care of food animals are the highest priority, followed by those willing to work in rural areas at least 30% of their time.
That's what I was hoping to find.
An average annual investment of $5 million USDA dollars has had mixed results, but progress in the most critically underserved areas have been a bright spot in the program. Since the first year of loan repayments in 2010, the number of areas where large animal veterinarians are desperately needed has been cut in half, from 40 to 20.
A lot of people probably don't see the draw of southeast Kansas, but I grew up here, my family's here. There's thousands and thousands of head of cattle here. Ranchers are here. It's been the perfect place for me, and I mean, I'm glad, I guess, there was a shortage of veterinarians here. It worked out really well.
Maintaining the veterinarian supply may be as important to the country's food chain as the animals themselves. The USDA estimates that American meat consumption will continue to grow over the next 20 years, which will require an increase in food animals to satisfy America's taste for protein, and an increase in veterinarians to maintain the health of the herd. A 7-hour drive to the west, Dr. Barbara Peterson is checking on a herd of Jersey dairy cattle near Dalhart, Texas.
Pero especialmente después de impacción, después tiene chorro, ¿no?
Peterson, who grew up on an Iowa dairy farm, found an opportunity to start her own practice with a focus on food animals, specializing in dairy. While this corner of northwest Texas has over 1 million beef cattle, it is also home to almost 50,000 dairy animals whose milk supplies a local cheese plant. The medical care runs the spectrum, from lab work to embryo transfer using artificial insemination.
There's so many animals here, so many chances to see different things, to see cases that you wouldn't normally see if you're in a smaller practice area. So yeah, it is rural, but it's really nice.
The dairies Peterson serves each have over 10,000 head, and milking is an 18-hour process each day. Because of the large numbers, one of Peterson's goals is on training dairy employees to triage and treat cows, holding the line until a veterinarian can arrive.
They're actually my go-to people. The employees, day to day, they know what's going on. And it's nice to get to work with that level of person, of skill.
The Veterinary Loan Repayment Program changed Peterson's finances enough to allow her to hire another veterinarian as her first employee, Dr. Aaliyah Hoffman.
She really, really has done a great job of growing into this role of, 1, helping with existing clients, and 2, growing relationships and new opportunities.
Peterson takes advantage of the requirement for veterinary school externships in the operation of her practice. Brian Stamfel of the University of Minnesota is one of a long line of students to pass through Dalhart.
You don't have blood? Does it push easy? Does it push easily?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You're good. Yeah.
Externships are valuable to vet students, both to learn the type of work a student prefers and the region of the country where they are most comfortable.
Having veterinary students is a lot of fun because they're about to graduate, they're ready to get in the field. We really enjoy teaching them, and we learn from them too. They're always showing us different things.
Time spent working in a community can help overcome preconceptions of an area, even if they appear to be a tough sell to an outsider. In the end, however, the work is the biggest draw to a job, regardless of location, incentives, or pay.
3 days old. Animal husbandry is definitely the most important part of our job, and I think more so even sometimes than our veterinary degree, because whether you have 10 animals or you have 10,000, each one of those girls needs to be looked after and cared for.
For Market to Market, I'm Peter Tubbs.
The USDA says since the program was started, more than 300 veterinarians have helped fill shortages in 46 states.
Well, that's going to about do it for this week's show, but you'll want to make sure to be back with us next week.
Don't take the beautiful green turf at your favorite college football stadium for granted. Only certain grass varieties can stand up to such heavy-duty traffic week after week. We take you behind the scenes to see what it takes to grow it and to get the playing surface ready for each and every football game.
And to get you ready for Thanksgiving, Natasha will be here and she will have an important tip on the food factor, how to avoid having a dried out, tasteless turkey on November 23rd.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. I'm Amy Myers.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Remember, if you ever miss a story, you can find past episodes of Farm Week under the Shows tab on our website, extension.msstate.edu.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to join in on the conversation. We'll see you next week.